Okay, welcome back to the channel. I haven't done an update on the soybeans since they've been planted. I know back in July there I did one on corn, and I said I'd try to do one on soybeans, and it's been a little while. I wished I got to it sooner, but I guess better late than never. So we're standing here looking at one of the soybean fields. This was actually one of the first fields, well, it was the first field I planted. Right around the end of May. I believe it was around the 24th of May. Give you a little background on this field, and probably I would say most of the others are pretty close to the same, but all my soybeans go into corn stalks, and what I did was I just lightly disked these fields. I just set the disc about 2 inches deep, just enough to stir the top layer up. What I'm trying to do is just break that crust open, or break that open just to get some air in it, because I really struggle with getting the corn stalk ground to dry out. I've tried everything. I've tried mowing them, in the winter time, in the springtime, and thinking that, with the stalk shredded up, it might let more air in there. It doesn't. Some people say that makes it worse. You're just putting all that fodder bedded on the ground now. So it just always seems to try to no-till anymore. I struggle. I have to sit and wait, where, there's guys that's been planting for weeks, and I'm still waiting on my fields to dry out. So the last, I'd say 3 years or so, I've been, maybe even longer than that, but I've been just hitting it with a disc lately, and that really seems to help. I just hit it, and within one day the field's usually in pretty good shape to be in there planting. This particular field was hit with manure. Some of my other ones were. A lot of my rented ground, I don't have the access to the manure, but I do stay up on the fertility. If it does need anything, I make sure I put some fertilizer down. I know this year, most of the rented ground, I got, I think, potash and some MAP on it. We were a little low on the potash side. Needed just a touch of phosphorus, not much. So we added that in. If you remember or seen any of my previous videos, I plant this with a planter, a Kinsey planter, with splitters. Now, most people are planting on 15-inch rows when it comes to the splitter planters. My particular planter is actually, it's a wide row planter that had splitters put on it, so it's actually around that 18-19-inch mark on planting. As you can see, it works. It fills in. I don't know if it fills in quite as soon as I'd like to see it. I think the 15-inch, obviously you got about 4 inches difference there. I think those canopy are just a little quicker, and the weed pressure I don't think is quite there what I get sometimes. I've been lucky. Most times I don't have much weed pressure, but it just seems like once in a blue moon, depending on the season, I get a little more weed pressure than most. As you can see here, I got a little bit of corn, volunteer corn coming through. Some of that is from my machine. I've been working on trying to get that thing better adjusted. I'm a little, that's probably the only thing I'm discouraged about with that combine, is trying to get that thing adjusted with corn. I'm still putting a little bit of corn out the back through the chopper, and I cannot seem to figure it out. I've tried many different things. Some of this volunteer corn I think is coming through the manure. It's amazing how, a kernel of corn can be chopped, put in a bunker or silo, mixed up, run through a feed grinder, whatever the case may be, and then goes through a cow, through the manure system, through, however, someone's manure system works, whether it's into a tank or into a pit, and then, it's stirred up and, sits there for months to a year and so on and so forth, and yet it still can be put down on the ground and grow a year later. It's just amazing how that stuff can survive, but it does. So, getting back to the beans, these are 3-2 beans. They are an enlist beans, and just do a quick check here. I pulled these back earlier, but as you can see, yeah, I'm here towards the end of the field, the edge of the field, but they are loaded with pods. They're looking decent. I'm not saying the whole field looks that way, or every field looks that way, but as a whole, we are looking fairly decent when it comes to the soybeans. To predict a yield, it's too hard to do. I don't know if it's a bumper crop. I don't think we had some dry spells there in July and part of June that I think it really did take a toll on both corn and beans. Maybe not a huge one, but you could tell during that time frame, the beans were really puckered up, curled up, and you could tell they were stressed. Same with the corn, but we're looking pretty decent. I would think that this is should be an average yield, and obviously we'll take that. I don't think it's going to be a below average yield. If it is, I guess I'll be pretty disappointed. And obviously if it's above average, then that's always a bonus. But you're never going to know until you get the machine in the field and take it off, and I'd say we're 6 weeks out yet. We're here towards the end of August. I think it's going to be 1st of October before these are ready. I do see some bean fields, not mine, but some of the others that got theirs in early, they're just now starting to change. So there'll probably be some guys cutting here in the next 3 to 4 weeks. But I don't see me planting, yeah. I don't see me doing any harvesting before the 1st of October. As far as rainfall goes, we, if you saw my video on the corn, we were a little dry there in June. We'd get a little bit just to keep everything going, but it wasn't, a great amount to really get the corn and the beans going good, but it was just enough to kind of just keep them going along. July was kind of the same way. We got a couple spells in there. There was probably 2 weeks in there where we were pretty dry. I mean, there was no rain. We had warm temperatures, pushing 90 degrees. And, like I said, the beans really were showing stress, corn too. But we did get some rain there towards the end of July. I think it perked everything up, got it back going good. Again, it's hard to tell what damage may, if any, had been done. But we did get some rain. 1st of August, we got quite a bit of rain there. I wish we could have spread that out a little bit better, but we have no control in the weather. But in the first part of August there, we got in a week's time frame, we got I was thinking close to 4 inches of rain. We had one spell where we got like 2.5 inches in one shot. Then we got like 6/10, and then another 6/10, a day or two apart. And then we got another shot. And so I've got it all written down, but there was a spell there where we got around 4 inches there the first part of August. Now we're back getting towards here this past week. We haven't seen rain for over a week now, and we've got temperatures in the 90s, so things are starting to dry up again. I don't know if rain would help the corn this late in the year or not. I think the corn's probably developed all it's going to develop, at least on my end. There's guys that that planted corn late. If they took an alfalfa field off, or if they're just not very fast at getting their crops in, they might benefit from a rain. But I think most of us that got our corn in at a decent time, I think the corn's probably set what it's going to do. The beans here, I still think we probably could benefit a little bit from some rain. Again, mine was towards the end of May, so I'm a little on the late side. Yeah, I'd like to get them in sooner, but Mother Nature wasn't letting me do it. But there was guys planting well into June. Obviously, they could benefit from rains. But I saw beans planted, end of April, and those are obviously the ones that are probably starting to turn now. So rain's probably ain't going to benefit them much. But these beans here, they probably could use another rain or two especially to these pods here that are still developing, help them get them finished out. So hopefully we can get a little bit here. I think they're calling for some here in the next couple days. Then it's supposed to cool off. But yeah, I wanted to just give you a little update on the soybeans. Sorry I didn't do anything sooner. I wanted to, but just didn't get to it. So I thought I would do it now. What I'll try to do is I'll try to do another one here right about harvest time. Kind of do a combo one, both the corn and the beans. So the next time I do an update, hopefully this field's going to be either pure yellow or all the leaves completely off of it, and it's just about go time. And maybe the corn over there will be a lot browner. It is starting to brown up, flare up a little bit on the bottom now, so that's where I think it's really starting to make its turn. But corn obviously turns a lot slower and dries down a lot slower than like soybeans do. So it'll be interesting to see what we get for yields. We just never know until we get into the field and start taking them off. But it does look like a hopeful and a decent crop, but unfortunately the grain prices don't. If there's anything right now that's pretty disappointing, and that's the grain prices, I'll tell you. I don't think guys are going to be able to keep going like this, I'll tell you that. I don't know what's going on with the prices and why they are where they're at. I got a feeling there's no foreign trade going on. I think our foreign trade is really slacked off in the last few years, and that's, I think, been a big impact on these grain prices, even though they probably won't tell you that. But I think I've heard a few people say that that's part of the problem. So we still got a month or so to harvest. Hopefully they'll bounce back a little bit. If not, I certainly hope by next year, because a couple more years of $3.50 corn and $8, $9 beans, it's going to really put a toll on the farming industry. So I think I'll wrap this video up. Obviously, if you got any questions, you can put them in the comments. But Like I said, most of the fields look the same, similar to this one. And all the beans were planted within probably about a week from start to finish. So there isn't too much variance. So now the corn, that's a different story. Like I said in my other video, that there's a 3-week gap between some of my corn. So that's going to be interesting to see how the dry down is. But we'll deal with that when that time comes. But right now, let's see what happens rest of the season here. So with that, I'm going to wrap this video up. Thanks for watching.